This apartment fire in Mississauga has killed one person and sent 4 others to hospital. We're going to have a live update from the scene in moments.
From the sunrise ceremony to observances at schools. But first, let's talk about flu season. I got my flu shot. We'll tell you how to get yours. Good evening. I'm Phil Perkins.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. One person's dead. 4 others have been taken to hospital. This is after an apartment fire in Mississauga.
Yeah, CP24 Steve Ryan joins us live from the scene on North Service Road, just west of Cawthron. Steve, what do we know thus far?
Just before 1 o'clock, Phil, and as we've been reporting, 4 people were taken to hospital with the smoke inhalation. 1 person, sadly, has died as a result. So now the fire investigators are the ones conducting this investigation. Peel Police are on scene as well, and they will assist fire in any way that they can as they continue to investigate this matter.
And Steve, you mentioned police. What role is police playing in the core investigation?
So the police play a support role in an investigation where there is a fire. The fire experts, the fire investigators rather, are the experts. So the police will take their lead from the fire investigators, whether that's Mississauga Fire or the Ontario Fire Marshal's office. And if there is any evidence, hypothetically, if there's any evidence that a fire was set intentionally, the police would lay a charge, but they would rely on the expertise of the fire investigators to give that evidence in court. And when it comes to a death in a fire, if it's a fatality, the police are the ones that do the death notifications as well. And ultimately, it'll be up to the fire investigators to do the investigation. The forensics teams from the neighboring police service will assist with collection of evidence, but all of the matters are being led by the fire investigators. Earlier, we spoke with a neighbor and we spoke with Mississauga Fire about this latest occurrence. And here's more from the 2 of them. Let's listen to this.
The smoke, it started on the 4th floor really thick, and that's when you started choking and that.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Were you scared?
I was more scared for the wife because she's handicapped.
How did you get her out?
One of the other tenants, our neighbor, she was holding on the rail and she was slowly walking around because she's half paralyzed.
Oh, jeez. And once you got outside, what'd you see?
Just the fire trucks going in and out, and we saw them bring 1 person out covered up.
The building has been evacuated. We're just doing air monitoring inside to make sure it's safe for some residents to return. We have requested a city bus, so residents are being sheltered in the city bus right now.
Okay.
So it's still a very active scene, guys. The fire was on the main floor, Bakari, of this 6-story building. Sorry, I cut you off there.
Oh, no worries. I was going to say, what can you tell us that you think investigators are going to be looking for in all of this?
Yeah, cause, origin, and circumstances of the fire. They will make a determination. That will be the fire investigators. That is, they are the experts. They'll make a determination as to what the cause, origin, and circumstances were. Was this intentionally set or not? And how could it be prevented going forward? And again, hypothetically, if fire investigators determine that something was done illegally, an arson, for instance, well, they would relay that information to the police investigators. So the police would lay the charge. They would take the case through court, but they would rely on the evidence of the fire investigators to help prove the case if, in fact, that was the case. Guys.
And the last one, real quick, Steve. In terms of the residents, the other residents in that apartment building, are they still there? Are they allowed to go back to their units, or are they being taken elsewhere, their TTC buses or Peel Region buses around?
There was a Peel Transit bus here a little while ago. There were several tenants in that, and that was because they evacuated some of the units just to make sure that the integrity of the building wasn't compromised, and they want to look for hot spots as well. But what I can tell from where I'm standing right now, it appears as though all the residents are back into their units, but there is going to be a long investigation by Mississauga Fire, perhaps the OFM, the Ontario Fire Marshal's office, with the assistance of Peel Regional Police as well.
Okay, live in Mississauga, CP24, Steve Ryan. Thanks, Steve. Okay, it's 5:04. Let's get a check on the evening commute with CP24's traffic specialist, Agil in Ciaya. There was still some snow coming down today.
There was. You know, it's subsided. I'm not seeing any more. So I can say with affirmation that it is snow-free out there. So that's a good thing, Bakari. Not so good thing is the sea of brake lights that I'm seeing on the northbound lanes of the 404. This is just as you make your way north of Highway 7. It is the HOV as well as the two left lanes that are blocked following this ongoing collision. The good news, emergency crews are on scene, and that's where the good news ends because this delay backs up onto the DVP from Bayview Bloor. Southbound, you're looking at delays as well from Bayview Bloor all the way down to the Richmond ramp. That's closed until next spring for long-term road work. Busy going the 401, but no live lane issues as well. And again, still snow-free even if you're heading into Brampton. Northbound 410, slow though into Brampton from Steeles. Everything seems to open up once you pass Sandalwood. We are dealing with one collision on city streets. It's on Pape and O'Connor. I'll send it back to you both.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Well, hundreds attended a Remembrance Day ceremony at the cenotaph out front of Old City Hall.
Veterans, active military members, dignitaries, and the public on hand for the ceremony. 100 years to the day that the cenotaph was unveiled outside Old City Hall. There was a rendition of O Canada prior to a moment of silence at 11 o'clock this morning. Let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman for more on how Remembrance Day is being marked here in the city. Beatrice.
Phil, Bakari, it was a powerful ceremony held this morning here outside of the monument that was put up here back in 1925. And there's many veterans that I've been talking to today who tell me they come here annually. They make a pilgrimage here annually for Remembrance Day. The reason being they want to spend time together. They want to pay tribute to their fallen brothers and sisters, those who did not make it home. And they want to have an opportunity to gather together and to share stories unique to their experiences and to others who went through some of the same things they did, especially those who served overseas, whether it be in the Second World War, and you'll hear from one of those veterans, in wars thereafter in Afghanistan and Bosnia, and in peacekeeping missions all around the world. The message I heard today was about national pride, how proud each of them have been to serve in a Canadian uniform with the Canadian flag and represent our nation, and what it means when Canadian soldiers and peacekeepers, go around the world, and how much it means to their allies to have them there. For others, they come from military families. I spoke with one woman whose spouse has been in the military for 35 years. Her father, her grandfather also serving everywhere from D-Day to Dieppe and Normandy. And for her, it's important to say thank you, to pay respect and say thank you for everything they have done. I spoke to a 101-year-old Second World War veteran, Jack Bokey, who served on D-Day in Normandy. And I asked him, what does Remembrance Day mean to you? And to him, it conjures up very vivid images. So here's more from him and another retired major who I spoke to this morning.
For Remembrance Day reminds me of unpleasant things because it reminds me of my fellows or my soldiers, my fellow soldiers who gave their life. And I can still see them. When I landed in Normandy, I saw the hundreds of body bags. And I can't help when I'm here and hear all the things and see all the things and see the respect that the people have given, and that reminds me of it.
I was in when we used to call it the dark days, where there wasn't as much public support, and so I think it's really refreshing to see and a lot more public support now. And I think people are, especially with sort of younger veterans, it's more in the public eye. I think for a while it was really being forgotten, and I think that really helps get the messages across. And I think we also come out just to support each other. We try to keep up with each other, and this is a time during the year where we can all get together, tell those old stories and just visit with friends that you haven't seen for a while.
For that World War II veteran, Jack Bokey, he talked to me about the words brave. He said, I wasn't brave. I was very scared, but I had to do brave things during the war. Otherwise, I was just an ordinary guy doing extraordinary things to bring down Hitler and his army. And so he talked about the fact that so many of the freedoms that we enjoy, the freedom to choose to do what you want, to say what you want to say, comes thanks to the sacrifices of these so many men and women who simply did not come home from serving our country. Back to you.
It definitely puts a lot in perspective. Beatrice, outside Old City Hall, thanks so much. Appreciate that. It is 5:10, 2 degrees. Watching live at 5.
And crowds also gathered around the country to honor the sacrifices of Canada's fallen soldiers and veterans. We're going to take a look at Remembrance Day ceremonies at Queen's Park and in Ottawa next. A ceremony was held at the Ontario Veterans Memorial at Queen's Park.
Yes, I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow.
Premier Doug Ford was among the dignitaries in attendance, paying tribute and giving thanks to those who fought and continue to fight for our freedom.
Millions of people around Ontario and across the country are paying tribute to our brave heroes. In Canadian military, which we're so proud to have and support 1,000%, both past and present. It is the highest act of patriotism to put your life on the line in service of your country, in defense of Canadian values like freedom and democracy.
Each year, on November 11th, Canadians pause to remember. We remember the courage of those who served, the sacrifice of those who never returned, and the legacy of those who came home forever changed. This year, we're marking several significant anniversaries in our shared history. The 110th anniversary of the poem In Flanders Fields, whose words still resonate today, reminding us of the cost of war and the importance of remembering.
A large crowd gathered in Ottawa for Remembrance Day as well. Take a look.
Well, a procession of military members arrived at the National War Memorial ahead of the ceremony. Veterans from all wars attended the service, which marks 80 years since the end of the Second World War. Chief of Defense Staff Jenny Carignan says that it's important to reflect on the past as we look towards the future.
We have a duty to remember. We are still today living in very unstable and dangerous times. It is extremely important to understand the consequences that conflict have on humans, which is why it's important to be ready and prepared adequately to do this. And then so much about also remembering the sacrifices of the past, inspire ourselves from those generous acts of selflessness.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and his wife arrived at the National War Memorial ahead of today's service. They stopped to chat with some members of the military before making their way to their spot along the route alongside veterans, serving members and dignitaries.
And Richard Wagner is Governor General Mary Simon's deputy and serves as the Chief Justice of Canada. He took Simon's place at today's ceremony. This is where he presided over the band playing O Canada. Simon is sidelined with a respiratory illness.
Nancy Payne is this year's National Silver Cross mother. Her son, Corporal Randy Joseph Payne, was killed by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan in 2006, just 3 months into his deployment. Payne laid a wreath on behalf of all mothers who have lost a child in service for Canada.
And the ceremony included a Remembrance Day flypast by an iconic Black Hawk helicopter. The aircraft is currently used by RCMP for border control and surveillance. It's named in honor of a prominent Native American war leader.
It's 5:16 right now, 2 degrees. You're watching live at 5.
And experts are warning that the flu season may be very tough this year. CP24's Andrew Brennan is going to break down why. on Live at 5.
Welcome back. Heads up to parents. Ontario has secured a one-year extension with the federal government for the National Childcare Program.
Yeah, the program, which currently has fees at an average of $19 a day in the province, it had been set to expire March 31st. Most provinces and territories signed extensions before this year's federal election, but Ontario only reached an agreement in principle to continue the program. So the one-year extension, it comes with $695 million in additional funding from Ottawa. Education Minister Paul Calandra says that means fees will not rise next year, but it's not enough to be lowered further towards $10 a day.
All right, from daycares to flu, they kind of go hand in hand. Some health experts are warning Ontario and Canada they could be in for a very tough flu season this year. For more on why, let's bring in CP24's Andrew Brennan. Andrew.
Yeah, hey guys. So there's a few reasons why when you hear from either epidemiologists, so those are infectious disease doctors basically, or other infectious disease experts, whether respiratory viruses or otherwise, when you hear from them, the reason why they're saying that this could, and I'm going to also emphasize the word could here, be a very tough season ahead is two reasons. Well, three, but two big ones. The first one is things work very cyclically. And we just had winter in the southern hemisphere, and it was worse there. So already in the northern hemisphere, not just in Canada, by the way, they're also in Ireland, in England. I also was looking at reports coming out of Denmark as well. You're seeing a rise versus what we had the same time last year over year increase, basically. And we're also seeing week to week a jump from the last number the week we have data from, which is the end of October, a 2% rise in confirmed cases. And that's confirmed cases. Not many people go to the hospital for the flu, except if you're in, well, a lot of people do, but most don't. So there's at least one for every single one of these people that has gone to the hospital, probably based on hospitalization rates, about 1,000 people that don't. So when you have a 2% increase in just a week, that does become cause for maybe not concern, but at least to keep an eye on things. We spoke to one of those epidemiologists that I was talking about, Dr. Christopher Labos, not long ago. And here you'll see a little bit about how all of this works together.
You look at the Southern Hemisphere, you see that they had a particularly bad flu season. You look at some of the strains that they had. You look at what's in our flu vaccine, and there are reasons to be not worried, but a little bit concerned about the fact that maybe there won't be a perfect match between the flu vaccine and the circulating flu strains. Maybe it will be more severe. Maybe we will be seeing more people in hospital, and that's just going to put more strain on a healthcare system that is still, frankly, struggling, even, post-pandemic, as it were.
So hearing Dr. Labos talk about that second piece there and the third, Bakari and Phil, basically when you have all of these cases that could potentially be coming to the hospital at the same time, plus RSV and COVID to deal with, and a system that doesn't have enough people, according to the experts that work in it, to actually function as best as they could, that creates a problem if everything comes in at once. And then also, even though it's not as effective for the particular strain that's got epidemiologists concerned, H3N2, all the same, Labos does say a flu shot is good for everyone, except in very rare circumstances with complications. I'll send it back to you both.
Okay, live from the 401 studio, CP24's Andrew Brennan. It's 5:22, 2 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, apparently even Santa tightens his belt. I don't know how he does that. He's large. New numbers indicate Canadians are cutting back for the holidays. Santa better not. I mean, he makes them. Well, it's almost that time. Christmas decorations are everywhere already. A lot of Canadians are preparing to cut back on their holiday spending, according to a new survey.
And for more on this, let's go live to CP24's Arda Zakarian. So, Arda, Can we say back to basics for this holiday season?
I mean, it could be for many Canadians. According to this survey by insolvency firm Harris and Partners, they found that most Canadians are opting for a more modest Christmas season, holiday season. They found that 72% of the people that they surveyed, and they surveyed about a little more than 1,800 people across our country, said that they're going to cut back on Christmas spending this year. 85% of those also expect to see a more of a strict reduced budget for the holidays. The CEO of Harris & Partners says a large number of people don't have the financial flexibility. And Christmas, of course, it's an important time for connection, for coming together with family, for celebrations. But it could look different this year for many households across the country. And this report comes as the economy is struggling, of course, with the tariffs. These tariffs have taken a toll on many businesses. Inflation continues to eat away at household budgets as well. And this report also says that it appears that many people are feeling stressed because, of course, there's going to be a big shopping surge coming up. There is a Black Friday, Cyber Monday. There's all the December festivities. There's Boxing Day coming up. So 62% of respondents don't feel financially prepared for the holidays. 53% have anxiety about affording them. And here's more from financial educator Jessica Moorhouse.
It's almost unfortunate that I'm talking about this every, holiday season, that it's tough for Canadians. Once again, the cost of living keeps on rising. I feel like I've been talking about this consistently for the past 5 years. And it's unfortunate that we haven't seen any progress, that I would have loved to see some, maybe stuff in the federal budget to kind of, again, really address some of the things that we're seeing and the problems that everyday Canadians are dealing with. And seeing some of the stats in that survey, they weren't surprising to me. This is what I hear from people every single day, that they need to rein in their spending, that they're not sure how they're going to afford the holidays this year. Finances top of mind, making them very anxious. And of course, we know that, unemployment is high, cost of living is high, and there's a lot of uncertainty going on.
The CEO of Harris & Partners says that many people even don't have the room, the financial flexibility to save, and they're on month-to-month budgets. And he does have the advice to plan early and, of course, seek financial help if you need it. Back to you.
Yeah, I guess. I already got lists from my wife. I got some links to some jackets. It's going down, as in my credit rating. All right, thanks so much, Arda. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's 5:27, 2 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, a fatal fire in Mississauga. Our Steve Ryan is at the scene with the latest when we return on Live at 5.
This apartment fire in Mississauga has killed one person, sent 4 others to hospital. We will go live to the scene in moments.
From the sunrise service to observances at schools and other events all across the country, CP24 has full Remembrance Day coverage for you.
And this year's flu season expected to be pretty bad in Ontario. We have the latest data and reaction from doctors.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Phil Perkins. Here's our top story. One person is dead. 4 others have been taken to hospital after an apartment fire in Mississauga.
CP24 Steve Ryan joins us live from the scene. This is on North Service Road, west of Cawthra. Okay, Steve, set the scene for us. What is happening right now?
Well, it's a 6-story unit, Bakari, and it's on North Service Road, just west of Cawthra Road. The fire was in a main floor unit. Now, Mississauga Fire did some fantastic work getting there as quickly as they could, and they were able to stop that fire from spreading to any other units. There is now a scene being cordoned off and protected by Peel Regional Police. There's a death, sadly, involved in this fire, so there'll be an investigation most likely being conducted by the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office, and the police will hold the scene for them most likely overnight while they do their investigation. And the police will act as a supporting unit to whoever the fire investigators are, whether that's Mississauga Fire or the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office.
And what do we know about the victim thus far, Steve?
Nothing that I can confirm, Phil. I do know that it was a man I'm told that was middle-aged, and that he was not able to get out of the fire. 4 others were able to get out of the fire and suffered some smoke inhalation. Unfortunately, when the fire department were able to get in and locate the man that was inside of that unit, he was vital signs absent and was pronounced deceased. So that part of this investigation now will be conducted by Peel Regional Police. They'll do all of the death notifications, and if in fact there is some sort of criminality, I'm not suggesting that in this case, but just hypothetically speaking in general terms, the fire investigators do the investigation. If they find anything that leads to a criminal investigation or criminal charges, they'll be laid by the police, and then they'll get their expert evidence from the fire investigators.
Yeah, Steve, I was going to ask, is it normal for police to be a part of an investigation like this?
Yeah, they always are a part of the investigation, but they take their lead from the fire investigators, because the fire experts, the fire investigators rather, are the experts. So the police act in a supporting role. They'll hold the scene like this. They'll protect the scene. They'll keep the continuity of the scene for when the fire investigators go in. And again, they will do the death notification. And their forensic teams with the police services are very good at collecting all kinds of different evidence. So they'll work with the fire investigators as well, and they'll seize evidence at the request of the fire investigators, and they'll keep the continuity of that and test it if it needs to be done, and then they'll pass that information on to the fire investigators. But it would be the most likely Ontario Fire Marshal's Office investigators that will be investigating this occurrence, and that's because there was a death involved as a result.
And Steve, did you hear from any residents or any other officials once you got the scene?
Yeah, I did, Phil. We spoke with some residents earlier on. Many of them are in their units now, but they talk about smelling the smoke, and you can still smell the smoke outside here, but I am told that all the residents are back inside of their units. Here's from one of the residents who we spoke with. Let's hear from them, and we'll hear from the fire department as well. Let's hear them both.
The building has been evacuated. We're just doing air monitoring inside to make sure it's safe for some residents to return. We have requested a city bus, so residents are being sheltered in a city bus right now.
The smoke, it started on the 4th floor really thick, and that's when you started choking and that.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Were you scared?
I was more scared for the wife because she's handicapped.
How did you get her out?
One of the other tenants, our neighbor, she was holding on the rail and she was slowly walking around because she's half paralyzed.
Oh, jeez. And once you got outside, what'd you see?
Just the fire trucks going in and out, and we saw them bring one person out covered up.
Cause, origin, and circumstances of the fire will be determined by the fire investigators, and the Peel Regional Police will act as a support unit, and they will assist. Back to you guys.
All right, Steve Ryan, thank you very much, live in Mississauga. All right, let's go back here to Channel 9. Check in on your commute home or to work if you're working overnight. CP24's Adriancia Yabua.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody's all over the roadways this hour, Phil. It's a lot busier than it was actually an hour ago, and we have a lot of problems happening. So we'll start out with problems brand new on the eastbound lanes of the 401. This is in the collectors, just as you make your way past Port Union or approaching White's Road. Really hard to see, but I do know the two right lanes are blocked. Fire is on scene, just that single lane getting by in the collectors. To avoid this, probably stick with the express. Those lanes moving a little bit better. Those collector lanes, very slow on the approach. Then on the northbound lanes of the Don Valley Parkway, heaviest from Bayview Bloor all the way up towards about Highway 7, actually north of Highway 7 on the 404. That's where the HOV and the two left lanes blocked with this long-standing collision. Also a collision on the southbound lanes of the 404 through Finch does have the left lane occupied. Gardner, no issues. Really slow exiting the downtown core, starting from York Bay Yonge in sections all the way out towards about Park Lawn. Outside of camera view, have a brand new issue on the 407 eastbound on the approach to Dixie, a collision in the left lane, and on city streets, a collision blocking lanes on Pape at O'Connor. I'll send it back to you both.
Remembrance Day ceremonies took place across the city today. Dozens gathered at Prospect Cemetery on St. Clair West. That's where about 5,300 Canadian soldiers and allies are buried. Municipal, provincial, and federal dignitaries, including Mayor Chow, were in attendance. The event was organized by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 26646.
Hundreds attended a Remembrance Day ceremony at the Cenotaph out front of Old City Hall. Veterans, active military members, dignitaries, and the public on hand for the ceremony. 100 years to the day that the Cenotaph was unveiled outside Old City Hall. There was a rendition of O Canada prior to a moment of silence at 11 o'clock this morning.
Let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman for more on how Remembrance Day is being marked in Toronto. Beatrice, you've had a chance to speak with some really special people.
No question about it. And, you know, speaking with a World War II veteran, Bakari, Phil, that's pretty rare, and it's going to get more and more rare as we lose these veterans who now served some 80 years since the conclusion of World War II. And so in speaking with a 101-year-old Jack Boakey today, who was part of the Allies that took down the Nazis, You hear about his stories, but you also get an understanding as to how vivid his memories still are. You get an understanding of the cost of both war and peace. And so here's a guy, when I asked him, what does Remembrance Day mean to you and what do you think about on the 11th day of the 11th month? He talked about arriving in Normandy and that still to this day he can envision the body bags of some of his fellow soldiers who are all fighting for the same cause, to take down Hitler and his soldiers. And so you hear stories like that, and it sends a chill through your body, recognizing that these are the people who fought for our rights and freedoms. And he told me about the fact that he did speeches at hundreds, potentially thousands of schools in the years since combat, and the kids write him letters saying, "You changed our lives." Why? Because they now understand the price of our freedom. They understand that it came from someone else's sacrifices. And so today here outside of Old City Hall in the cenotaph that was put up here in 1925, we remembered those who went to combat who did not come home and those who are still serving our country with pride. And so here's a bit of what I heard out here outside of Old City Hall today.
I was not brave. I was very scared. And my children tell me, you were not scared. You were what's the word? Heroic. And I don't feel like a hero. I feel like an ordinary person. But I did extraordinary things during the war.
My husband's a current serving member of the Canadian Armed Forces with the 48th Highlanders of Canada. He has been in for 35 years. So in that aspect, it's very important for us to be here supporting them. My uncle served in World War II from D-Up to D-Day. So again, another reason to honor. And my grandfather and his 4 brothers served in World War I. So long military history, and it's always been a part of my growing up. And I wish that more people understood the importance of honoring those that serve.
And the respect for those who serve as well. I spoke with another veteran, Bakari and Phil, who served some 30 years in the military, telling me seeing people wear these things, poppies, is a great sign of respect and how good it makes him feel to know that people not only remember, but pay tribute to those who serve this country and served this country. Wreaths were laid here by the dozen outside of Old City Hall. People stood here for a while after the ceremony concluded, and amongst the hundreds of people here in this intersection who flooded Queen and Bay, many veterans who tell me they make a point of coming here every year. One major told me 15 years now he's been coming here. Why? Because he wants to be with other veterans, to support one another, and to share stories of these really unique and powerful experiences that these men and women who serve this country bravely experienced together. Back to you.
Yeah, no doubt. I was at the Canadian Warplane and Heritage Museum a couple years back for Remembrance Day. They had school kids singing the national anthem, and then the MC mentioned how, these kids, 15, 16 years old, during World War I or II, they would be fighting. And it's just, that perspective there is just, it's heartbreaking and it's raw. All right, Beatrice outside the cenotaph, thanks so much, appreciate that.
Well, the residents at Sunnybrook Veterans Center, they marked Remembrance Day with the ceremony. Sunnybrook is Canada's largest veterans care facility. The center held a private service for residents, followed by an outdoor ceremony today, which included a reading of In Flanders Field and a flypast of the Canadian Harvard Aircraft Association.
We have a vulnerable veterans program, so we do have veterans who are homeless or precariously housed and need medical attention. We will admit them to the Veterans Center. We're also providing some outreach to housing that is for veterans who've been homeless. So we're trying to make sure they have access to medical care.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Nice seeing you again.
Nice seeing you again.
And Premier Doug Ford met with veterans at the Sunnybrook Veterans Center this morning. He shook hands, thanked the residents for their service before planting a Canadian flag on the front lawn of the center.
There's so many people, millions and millions of people around the world, and
here in Canada that served to protect our freedoms and our democracies. And we're just very, very grateful for that.
Residents woke up to a sea of flags outside their windows. It's part of Operation Raise a Flag. As to our small army of volunteers, staff, and military members, they plant approximately 30,000 Canadian and Indigenous flags across the lawns at Sunnybrook Hospital every year.
It's 5:42, 2 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
Well, are you feeling sick?
No, I'm hungry, but...
Well, if you are feeling sick, you're not alone. Experts say that flu season this year, it may be particularly tough. We're going to look into that next on Live at 5. Well, some health experts, they're warning that Ontario and Canada could be in for a very tough flu season this year.
Great. For more on why, let's bring in CP24's Andrew Brennan. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm really happy I don't have small kids like you do, Phil.
It's going to be great.
You're just it's like, you know what they say, Christmas comes but once a year, but the flu comes every 2 weeks.
At least, yeah. A new virus every week, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, there's a lesson there. This is what happens when you have a lot of kids in a confined space, and we also, can't make everything perfectly sanitary. That is part of the thing that happens in society anyway. And this is also one good thing we can talk about beyond the flu, because this is not just a problem with the flu. The problem is that everyone gets sick at the same time with the flu, with the colds, and then also RSV, which is particularly bad for kids and the elderly. And on top of that, you add in COVID. So if you put all of these together and you also have, say, a hospital network that only has a select amount of beds before they have to have people staying in the hall, well, sooner or later, the problems come to a head. So, yes, joking about kids and being in daycares and being a problem there, but this is something that does come to a head every year, and this year could be worse because of two things. One, how bad it was in the southern hemisphere for the flu this past year, and then two, the fact that the flu shot that we have that's made every year and is done to particular subvariants and strains of the flu. Well, there's a particular one that's making the rounds this year amongst those kids, not like Phil's, but like kids his age. And that's not something that's necessarily all that. How am I supposed to put this? The flu shot will not necessarily protect for this strain particularly, but it's better than nothing, according to Dr. Labos, an epidemiologist.
Influenza is pretty bad. You take a bad influenza season, you throw COVID on top of that, you throw RSV on top of that, you throw all the other respiratory viruses. That's a lot for a system that has seen a lot of people leaving the system. Like the healthcare system that we have today is not the same healthcare system that we had 5 years ago. So taking all these things together, yeah, there is going to be more strain on the healthcare system. And that's why you as an individual, the more that you can do to protect yourself and not get seriously sick, the better off you're going to be.
And despite this current flu shot not necessarily being completely protective towards the H3N2 strain, Phil Bakari, the recommendation is, unless you have very particular health reasons to not get it, that everyone can and should get the flu shot, according to epidemiologists. Back to you.
Great. Yeah, my kid got it and he got a toy out of it. So great.
Hey,
everyone's
where's my
happy.
toy?
I can take you to the pharmacist. We watch you get a shot and get a cool Band-Aid.
Okay, that sounds great. Lollipop too, please.
All right, Lollipop works for me. It is 5:47. 2 degrees, watching Live at 5.
Well, after the Blue Jays went from last to first in the AL East, John Schneider could take home Manager of the Year tonight. We're going to tell you who he's up against. That's after the break. Well, many Canadians are preparing to cut back on holiday spending. This is according to a new survey.
Now, for a closer look at the results and why we're finding ourselves in this predicament, let's go to CP24's Arda Zakarian. Arda.
And this survey was done by insolvency firm Harris and Partners and found that many people across our country are going to have a more modest Christmas season this year, cutting back on many things, on spending. Now, 72% said they will cut back on Christmas spending this year. 85% said they expect to see a strict budget for the holidays. The CEO, Harris and Partners, says a large number of people simply don't have the financial flexibility. Christmas is an important time for connection, for coming together with family for celebration, but this year it's going to look different for many families across the country. And this report comes as, of course, the economy is struggling with the tariffs. It's taking a big toll on many businesses. And this report also finds that Canadians appear to be feeling stressed about the situation. There's lots of holiday spending days coming up. For example, there's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of December basically is a time to spend. We have Boxing Day coming up as well. The survey found that 62% do not feel financially prepared for the holidays, and 53% have anxiety about affording them. The survey spoke to about 1,800 Canadians, and for some, those feelings from the difficulty they face when trying to save is because there's not a lot of wiggle room in their budget. Here's more from financial educator Jessica Morehouse.
For anyone who does feel the pinch, I would say to take a look at your budget once again and really be, line by line mindful of where is your money going, and see, is there anywhere we can cut, even if it's just temporarily, to free up that cash flow to have that savings just until, say, after the new year. Because the worst thing you can do is then put everything on credit, and then you're in this kind of new year financial hangover in January where you have this credit card debt, and then you have to figure out where is the money coming from to pay that off. So if you can, see where can we maybe make some adjustments for the time being so we can afford, whether that's just like getting a turkey for Christmas or whatever the case is, what's really important for you, or a few gifts. And maybe this is also a great time to ask for some extra hours, see if there's any other ways that you can add some extra income on top of, the work that you're already doing.
And the CEO of Harris & Partners suggests set realistic budgets for this time and start planning early. And if you need to, seek financial guidance. Back to you.
Okay, reporting live from the newsroom, CP24's Artis Zakarian. Well, the Leafs visit the Bruins tonight. They're looking to snap a 2-game losing streak.
Matthews, Tavares, back across the field, shoots, scores!
Well, they gave up 2 goals in the final frame on Sunday to lose 5-4 to the Carolina Hurricanes. The Leafs have just 1 win on the road this season. Still early. Puck drop tonight at 7. And the Raptors continue their road trip tonight in Brooklyn.
Quick outlet to quickly pulls up again.
Well, they had their 4-game winning streak snapped Saturday in Philadelphia. The Nets are just 1-9 this season. They're one of 2 teams yet to win a game at home. Tip-off tonight at 7:30.
All right, we'll double screen it. Blue Jays manager John Schneider will learn tonight if he is the winner of the American League Manager of the Year award.
He's a finalist for the award, along with Guardians manager Stephen Voigt and Mariners skipper Dan Wilson. The winner is going to be revealed during a special on MLB Network. That begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Voting for the award, it was done before the playoffs.
Yeah, if it had both, it'd be a shoo-in. He's going to win, though. It's 5:54 at 2 degrees. You're watching live at 5.
And coming up, we're going to take a look at some Toronto students learning about Remembrance Day and the soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice. Well, 80 years after the end of the deadliest conflict in history, the number of living Second World War veterans, it's dwindled to a few thousand.
Veterans Affairs Canada says it estimates that as of this year, there are just under 3,700 surviving Canadian veterans. Veterans Affairs also believes the number of living vets from the Korean War is at 1,900.
And for students, Remembrance Day, it's about learning about the history and significance of the day.
At Courcelette Public School in Scarborough, students and staff attended an assembly. Students have learned their school is named after the Battle of Courcelette from the First World War.
It's very important to me because now that I'm looking back on it, it wasn't even that long ago. And many people only a few years older than me sacrificed their whole futures, their whole lives, sacrificed families and everything just so we can live in peace and we can live how we live now.
Remembrance Day means to me, it's not what it means to me. It's what they did for us. They made the supreme sacrifice of being here for our country, sacrificing themselves, fighting in war for our freedom.
These courageous men and women left their home communities to join the fight for freedom. Skilled marksmen, talented scouts, fearless soldiers, code talkers. Their bravery and skill have been recognized by countries around the world. This proud tradition to our service continues to this day. Remember them.
I'm a firm believer in tradition and remembrance and honoring people who've gone before us. My grandfather was a Second World War vet, so it's a big family thing for me.
It's 5:59, 2 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Thanks for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.